we give him a lot of credit for fighting Triple G, but maybe he knew he was going to get beat and nobody would say anything bad about that fight. But now he's fighting someone at his own weight, someone that he knows is going to be a tough fight against, and he just steps down and says, here, take my title. I don't want to fight you, because he thinks that a guy beating him at his own weight will kind of kill the fight between me and Kell Brook. He's only going for that money fight. I think Errol Spence is a great fighter. Obviously, he's beatable. Obviously, every fighter is beatable, but he's a young, hungry fighter who wants to be the best and destined for greatness. He's doing great things in boxing, making a lot of noise. I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's a good fighter. Those are the words of Amir Khan talking about his domestic rival, Kell Brook, and the situation with Brook's mandatory Errol Spence. In this interview and in some other recent interviews, Khan seemed to suggest that if Kell Brook were to relinquish his IBF world title to avoid Errol Spence, that he would not only lose respect for Kell Brook for doing so, but it would also jeopardize the fight between himself and Kell Brook. That's what he seemed to suggest anyway. He hasn't flat out said that. But he's ironically said that Kell Brook may be doing this, maybe trying to avoid Errol Spence, because he thinks that losing to Spence would jeopardize the fight with Khan. And Khan's like, no, fight Spence. That'll make the fight between me and you more likely, as long as you beat Spence. So to me, it is kind of disturbing, because I've seen an interview with Eddie Hearn recently where Hearn did talk about the possibility of Kell Brook vacating his IBF world title in order to get the Khan fight right away. It seems as though Kell Brook is looking for every other option rather than sign the Errol Spence fight immediately. He's looking for Khan, he's looking for the Garcia-Furman winner, he's looking for all these other options rather than face his mandatory. And the IBF have been very gracious with Kell Brook. They've given him an extension because of the fact that he suffered a serious fracture to his eye in the Golovkin fight. So they gave him an extension for facing his mandatory, longer time than normal. But rather than just go ahead and sign that mandatory fight, as I say, he's apparently looking at every other option rather than just sign the Errol Spence fight. I'm one of those people who thinks that Errol Spence is extremely dangerous for Kell Brook. There's a lot of people out there who think that Kell Brook handles Errol Spence with relative ease. Maybe they're right, but I personally can't see it in my mind's eye. I see that as a very dangerous fight for Kell Brook, particularly under the circumstances, coming down from middleweight, because he's been killing himself to make welterweight all these years, coming down from middleweight with a serious injury to his eye against a young, hungry fighter in Spence who has a lot of momentum going. And just from a style point of view, I think Spence is very good on the inside. He's a good puncher, an excellent body puncher, and he's pretty good on the outside too. Maybe not as sharp as Brook is on the outside, but he's still pretty good, and I think he'll be able to handle himself. Some people have talked about Errol Spence's chin maybe being an issue, but I don't see Spence's chin being any more of an issue than Kell Brook's chin if you look at the way their early careers unfolded. Because Kell Brook was dropped in one of his early fights at domestic level, and later on he was seriously wobbled by Senchenko. You may remember the guy that stopped Ricky Hatton on his failed comeback. Kell Brook was wobbled by him quite badly before he knocked him out moments later. So when you look at that and compare that to Spence's career and one or two moments where he's been wobbled in fights, it seems pretty similar to me. So, I don't know. That's just my feeling on both fighters. I think it's a very dangerous fight for Kell Brook, and I think Kell Brook knows it because if it wasn't a dangerous fight for him, surely he would have taken it. We didn't have any of this searching for other options when Jojo Dan was his mandatory. Or what's the other guy's name? Bizier? When they were his mandatories, he wasn't searching for other options. He just took the mandatories. But when it's Errol Spence, he's looking every single other direction other than Spence. So Khan may have a point here that, again, he's insinuating that Brook is maybe looking for another way. But if Brook was to drop the IBF title, that might jeopardize the fight with Khan, which is obviously a fight he wants. And at the same time, it will, I think, hurt his credibility with the fans, particularly in the United States, because in the United States, there's a lot of people that actually quite rate Kell Brook. But if he relinquishes the belt, it's going to hurt his credibility. And it'll also hurt his hand at the negotiating table if the Khan fight does go ahead. Because without a belt, Khan is going to say, look, you deserve even less than you were already going to get. You've just ducked your mandatory. You've got no belt. If you think this is 50-50 at the negotiating table in terms of purse split, you're out of your mind. So it is what it is. What do you think is going to happen here, people? Do you think that Kell Brook is actually going to fight Errol Spence? Do you think he's going to relinquish? And if he does fight Spence, how do you see it going? If he don't fight Spence, will Amir Khan still face him? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. It's your boy Hatman, I'm out.